All right, so here's the fenders I'm going to be using. It's by Rene Herse. They actually just use, it's rebranded Honjo. Honjo makes probably the best fenders for bikes out there. As you see, these are aluminum, so they are a little bit lighter than your plastic options. They hold their shape better than your plastic options as well. First off, what you're going to do is obviously we got to take our wheels and tires off. This is my gravel wheel set. These fenders are not big enough for these wheels and tires. So these fenders rate up to about a 35C tire. So I will just be using those with my road wheel set, which has a 32C tire on them. And then I'll have another bike that I'll use for gravel. So this bike is going to become my dedicated rain bike. All right, so most of your bikes will have a brace right here with a hole in it for a bolt to go into it. With the Contend AR, it's actually this plug right here. This is what we're going to attach our fender to. So we're going to drill a hole into our fender right here. So what you're going to do is pull this rubber plug out. So now we have this section here that we can be able to screw into to attach our fender here. So what you do is when you install your fender, you can see here we'll run it right about there, and you'll want to make a mark where you want to put that hole right through there. So there's where our hole is. I'm going to line it up, get it as center as possible, and then I will take a mark on this side where it is and measure, make sure it's centered, and then drill a hole. I'll do a little punch and then I'll drill a hole through there, and then we can mount it right there. And then the hole is right back here, but I'm going to mark it on the inside. All right, now we got our mark here, and then I have a spring punch right here. You can get these pretty cheap online just about anywhere. May not even, there it goes. When you use a drill, you want to use the smallest drill bit first, just to get it started, and then you will slowly go up to a larger size to get to the size of the bolt. All right, so after you get it the right size, then you take a file like so, just run it through, smooth out the edges. Once again, this is very soft metal, so you don't want to do too much. You just want to smooth it out so you don't have those rough edges. All right, so we have the hole ready. We have the bolt ready. Going to put it through here. On the back side, they actually have this little padded piece here so it don't mess up your frame. You can put that there, and then we're going to install it right here. Alright, there we go. Now we have the fender connected to the bike in the front there. You have these, which are your fender stays. This is going to go right here, and we actually will mount it like so, and we'll actually use these little eyelets here we were talking about before. Let's put these little pieces here and the eyelets and get this lined up, and then we can get ready to drill our next holes to mount the stays to the fender. I found the easiest thing is just take these pieces and slide them onto the stays first. So then you get it on the stay roughly where you want it to go. You can kind of adjust it from there. Okay, now where you actually have your stays is they recommend about 12 to 14 centimeter from the bottom here. So, which would be about 5 inches for me. Alright, so after putting the wheel in there, obviously this is way too tight to get down to here. So we're going to have to loosen it up a little bit. So after you mount your fender up front here, you definitely want to have your rear wheel in to mount the stays. I think I'm gonna mark there about 5 inches. All right, so a little newbie mistake here. First time putting on fenders. This is actually what will slide onto your stays, and you will drill new holes for these to go through. So you have 2 of these that slide onto the stays. Do that. So be sure to install 2 of these before you attach the stays to your frame here. I'm actually just going to undo one side and slide them onto it. Make sure my distances are the same again. You want to measure several times before drilling your holes. Alright, so once you have them there, then you can actually punch your hole again, like before. Alright, so there's our starter. There's our next starter. Lift it up off of your tire, obviously. There we go. Do the same to the other side. There we go. Got off a little bit on that one, so I just used my drill bit to kind of get it centered a little bit better. The edges of this will cover up the extra space, so you have a little bit of wiggle room there. Alright, so you got these 2 pieces here. This one is going to go just like so. Now put these washers on first, then there we go. That, put our nut on the back. Alright, those are on, looks nice. Alright, on the back side of these, it's actually, you got a nut here, and it's an 8mm socket that you'll use to tighten it. Alright, so now we're on to the next day, and like I said, don't ever rush fenders and putting them on. So we have it connected now in 2 spots. We have it here along the fender stays. We also have it connected right here along the seat tube. Now the next place is going to be right here. Now most bikes will have a Seatstay bridge right through here that you can connect your fender to. Well, this is a Giant Contend AR, so it doesn't have them. It does have these little bolts here, and it comes with these pieces, which will turn into a bridge like so. Okay, so we're basically going to take this, we're going to mount it right here. Actually, I'll probably flip it around this way. Mount it right here. Then I have to get an L-shape piece to connect to there, and also drill a hole in the fender for that as well. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, you can see mine are rusted up really well. So if you have a Giant Contend AR or another bike that has the bolts already in them, you may want to just take those out or replace them with like a stainless steel bolt or titanium bolt, so that way you don't have this rusting issue here. I put some penetrating lubricant in them last night, so I'm hoping that they'll break free easily without rounding off on the inside, so we'll see. Alright, so I had to use a Dremel and cut a slit inside this right here. Get this to loosen up with this screwdriver. I don't know if it will or not. Oh yeah, it's working. Sweet. Alright, lesson learned on that one. Definitely get a replacement for that. Alright, so I gotta cut a slit in this other one and do the same thing. Little piece in there so I can undo it. There we go, that one's working perfect. Got it loose. Got the kids running around like crazy. Alright, there we go. Found a couple screws in my my little drawer there. I'll probably replace these later with, like I said, some sort of titanium. I just want to get this on the bike for now. Okay, so I think I figured it out now. Once again, trial and error. So it goes where this has got to go straight across, and then the other piece has to go right about here. So we'll try to get it on there and see what happens. Now I had this little L bracket in my some of my tools in my drawers. I did go to the hardware store and got some right here that I'm going to probably use on the front, because I can only find one in my tools. This is black, obviously you see there. This one's, if I did use this one, it'd have to be bent to reach that fender at the proper location. I could try it that way, but what I'll probably have to do is, once again, I would have to bend that. This one here is thin enough that it bent pretty easily, so I'll put this one in the vise and probably bend it. It's a little more secure than this little one, so I may end up using the black one just because it's a little thicker, more secure. I have my L bracket that I was able to bend to fit in there properly, and then got me a nut and a washer and everything. So let's try to put it on there. Alright, get it in there. We'll tighten it down, and then I'll measure for my hole to cut on the fender. Get my punch, make a mark so we can drill. I'll also remove my wheel so I don't make a hole in the tire. Alright, so I'm going to get it centered up right in the center. Right about there. Make our mark. Alright, so it's nighttime now. Got the light out. It's supposed to rain tonight, so trying to get this done before then. We got to go in and eat dinner. And so I made my mark here. I just have to drill a hole. Alright, so I just finished drilling the hole right through here. Alright, so now I got the holes ready. I got the bolt here, and then the nut, and then make sure you have a washer, especially if you're using the metal like aluminum. You want the washer on that back side to make sure it doesn't pull through. So, but we'll just put it through our little bracket there, and then on the back side put our washer. And I have a lock nut here. Make sure it locks and doesn't come loose when we're riding on the rough roads. The main thing with the rear is do not get impatient. Be very patient with this. You'll probably have to run to the hardware store a couple times, get some bolts and nuts that do not come with the fenders. Alright, so now that we have the rear fender mounted to the seat stay here, you can see it is very solid. It's not going anywhere. Even the back is super solid. Alright, yeah, it's got plenty of room inside there, going up to that nut there. Alright, perfect. So the rear is ready to go. All right, let's do the front now. All right, so similar to the rear, what we're going to do is there's a mount right here that we'll actually have to put the one of the L brackets on right there and screw a hole into our fender. And then we have these holes here that the fender stays will reach to here and keep it firm right there. So we're going to take the tire off and get started on it. But we'll have to drill a hole here and then down here for the stays. All right, perfect. All right, now we'll have to see where we want our fender to go. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll put the front wheel back on so that way I can put the fender on and kind of see what it looks like and make my mark for where I want to drill for that L bracket right there. Now you will notice that this might sit kind of further away from the tire, so later on if I want to, I could probably get a different L bracket to go a little lower towards the tire if I wanted to have a little coverage, or I could have a longer bolt here and just have some spacers in there. That might be what I do for that. So I think that's about where I wanted to go. So I've made my mark here. You can see it's not quite centered. So what I'm going to do is move it over, have it be centered, and then I'll drill a new hole there. Alright, so I got some pieces here out of my toolbox again to try to get this to fit there. Also, I have some spacers here that go to, like, brakes and stuff to try to lower it a little bit, and then some washers as well, and lock washer. Now, as far as like where to put the hole and how far forward and everything it should be, I didn't really know. I just kind of looked online at other people's fenders and where they were putting them, and just kind of estimated. I wanted it definitely to be low enough down here so it wasn't splashing up on my feet when I was riding in the rain. So. I'll tighten it down with my socket here in a second. And then the next step will be the stays going back. Alright, so I went ahead and did the front, and basically it was the same way as the back before, so I didn't want to repeat that process. A few things to note, I just used one of these right here. I think it looks a whole lot better than having two, so we have that on there. And then another thing too, on this side, I'll flip around. I did have this flipped around this way where the stay was over here. The problem is the right here, my through axle would have been in the way, so I flipped it around, put it on this side. So depending on what bike you're using, be sure to take note of that before you put this on, because if you put that on the other way, then the through axle will not fit. But yeah, so it's good to go. Once again, nice, slow, tedious process, but I think it'll be worth it. So clears there, all good. Hey everybody, if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button down below. If you have any tips or tricks for me or anyone else, be sure to leave them down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.